So, welcome to Real Lessons on Real Estate. And my special guest today is Christine Cowern from Real Brokers, right?
Hello, Real Broker, yeah.
Real Broker. Tell me about Real Broker. I'm interested.
Real Broker has been in Canada for about 3 or 4 years now, so we're relatively new to Canada. It's a virtual brokerage.
Okay.
We've been there a couple of years, and we've been with all the big boys, and we love it. It's a tech company as well, and we find the training is 2.0, the technology's 2.0. It's been great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. I've been taking a look through your website, through all kinds of various things about you, and I'm very interested for you to tell me about your team. I was reading that your team really works together on each and every listing. They're working together, which was very unusual for me to read, and I'd love for you to elaborate on that and let me know what that's about.
Yeah, so I've had my team probably about 13, 14 years now. Started as, me. I was a team of one. Yeah. And what I've decided to do over the years, first of all, it's an all-female team, so that makes us unique a little bit.
How many agents on your team?
We probably have 8 in total right now, including a couple admin. And it's all women. It's for me, as my career went along in real estate, I started back in 2007. I really wanted to support and champion women in the industry.
Beautiful.
I had 2 brothers growing up, always wanted a sister, so I created a sisterhood. And the way the team works is we all have specialty areas and focuses. I know that when most people are looking to buy or sell a house, they want a specialist. They want someone who knows their area really well. And so we have West End specialists, Central, East End, North, to make sure that everybody's covered. And it really is one big family. It's been I've been very conscious over the years of the culture. We don't want to find great agents and then have them leave because the communication wasn't there, the leadership wasn't there, etc. So we really all do work together to support each other. I didn't want to create a sort of cutthroat, super competitive environment. We just have found great people and really love each other.
Awesome. So if you take a listing, for example, is it all of those team members working? No, I don't mean working just to sell the listing, but working on getting the listing ready, or is it the person who specializes in that particular area?
It's typically a variety of people. So it's the person who specializes in that area. We may have, if somebody's looking to buy in Oakville and they're selling in Pickering, they'll have a Pickering specialist on the sale and an Oakville buyer specialist.
Beautiful.
So really, we're able to create sort of the perfect specialist and 2 agents, in which case they're working on it together, making sure that timelines line up for closings, making sure the marketing looks great. We have a marketing team, so it's a variety of people.
That's a great concept.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a great concept because many, many times I see in the industry where people are struggling, for example, taking out a buyer, they're going to go into Scarborough, they're not from Scarborough, they're not familiar with what's going on.
Yep.
And in all honesty, are we doing a client a really big service when we're doing that? No, we're not.
No.
Because we're not familiar really with what's going on in that marketplace.
It's true. I started as a generalist agent and I went all over the place. And then I realized that more and more and more people were looking for specialists. And so that was forefront of my mind as I've, in the last, I would say 6 or 7 years as I've been building the team.
Beautiful. And I often have people ask me about changing the direction of their branding, things along that line. So tell me, when you're looking to bring somebody into your team, just in case somebody crosses my path, you never know that.
Yes.
What is it you would be looking for at that time? What
right now,
a Christine team member?
This has changed over time, but right now I would say we are looking for someone with a little bit of experience. So at least a couple of years in the business would be fantastic. We want someone who is not so indoctrinated into their own way of doing things that they're not malleable. So I think that's number one. I've created all the systems, processes. I'm very systematized and oriented. So, we've got a plug and play for pretty much everything. How to do a listing presentation, how to follow up, scripts, everything is there that we've created. So it's really about, does the person play well with others? Because again, the community and the culture is super, super important. Can they, we have some differing personality types on the team. Do they have a high enough EQ that they can work with those different personality types? And are they motivated? Do they hustle? You need to hustle. Even 18 years in, I'm still having a hustle. And so you have to have that inner motivation, which is something that can't be taught. You either have it or you don't have it.
Oh, I agree with that.
Yeah.
1,000%.
Yeah.
1,000%. I often see new agents all the time, and people will be excited and introducing me to somebody.
Yep.
And I'll say, yeah, they won't be here in 6 months.
Yep.
And people are stunned by my response, but the reality is that is a very accurate statement. Yep. I think you're either really meant to be in this business and understand what's going on, or you just never get to the level that you're waiting to get to.
Agreed. I mean, there's an 85% failure rate in real estate for a reason.
Absolutely.
And it's very true. People think this is an easy business.
It is
You
not.
can open a door and make tens of thousands of dollars. Occasionally that happens, but I would say less than 1% of the time. 99% of the time, you are pulling 12-hour days, 7 days a week. If you really want to succeed, I've spent years having to cancel social plans, having to, just put my nose to the grindstone and work. And that's how you get successful in this business.
1,000%. Yeah, I see it so frequently where, and I feel sorry actually for a lot of newer agents. They spend a lot of money today to get a real estate license. It's not a cheap adventure anymore. And they come into the business, and I always use the scenario when I'm mentoring people or I'm teaching or coaching agents, and I say the phone won't ring on its own.
No.
And that's really what a lot of people think coming into the industry. The phone's going to ring, it's going to be a $25,000 phone call, and I'll be good for another month. And then 6 months later, they're spending their life savings, and they cannot get out of that cycle because they don't have the leadership behind them or the mentorship to give them the structure to find their way in the industry.
Very true. Very true. I mean, watching shows like Millionaire Listing in Los Angeles or New York is not going to set you up for the real world. No. A lot of those scenarios, I mean, I would not say no to selling any of those properties. But it's not all necessarily real.
No.
Either. I think a lot of those scenarios are created for the camera. I don't think they're necessarily 100% accurate all the time. And it shows the glamorous side. It doesn't show, showing up to a listing and the cleaning crew missed a whole bunch and you're down on your knees scrubbing that floor because the photographer's coming in 20 minutes. It doesn't show that.
No.
I mean, I've done offers at midnight before. I've had people show up to my house at midnight.
Oh, 1,000%.
To do offers. So you really have to have a passion for this business and have an incredibly hard work ethic and don't take anything for granted in order to succeed.
When I first came into the industry 35 years ago, before the world of computers and DigiSign and DocuSign and everything that went with it, it would be very normal for me to come home. I would say a minimal of 3 to 4 days a week from somewhere between midnight and 2 a.m. from doing offers because we never stopped till the offer was done.
Now it's a little easier because I find there's no in-person offer presentations anymore. It's all virtual. But I mean, I've sat outside a house in competition with 12 or 15 other people for hours and hours and hours, because that was the process then. I remember one of my old clients was an actress and she was auditioning for a play and she brought her script and her and I sat in the car with a coffee at 9 o'clock at night for probably until midnight and ran lines. I helped her run lines for this play.
Waiting for your turn to see, do you get a sign back?
Right, exactly. So it's a little more efficient these days. You're not spending as much time sitting in the car waiting to walk into a house to present, but it's still not easy.
So tell me how you personally feel about that exact scenario, because I lived a lot of those years where we were in the car waiting for our turn to go in either and speak to the seller or the agent or whoever. I found there's pros and cons to the great new DigiSign, DocuSign, more efficient for sure, but I believe it took away a lot of our building rapport with the people when we spent a lot more time with them. Back in that era, it was much easier, I found, in the referral division of things. in making great rapport with your sellers because you were always with them, where
Yep.
today we're not. It's just initial that for me and it comes back. Same as we're kind of talking about, the old tear sheets that came in. You knew every property because you had to look at it every day when it arrived from Trev.
Right.
Now it's just a matter of, and again, I think agents are kind of lacking that too because they don't spend the amount of time that they should in their area of expertise checking out every home that's on the market.
Right. And they also are relying on phone and text when they really should be meeting in person.
1,000%.
I just the other day I had a client whose house I have listed say, because I said, let's regroup, let's have a conversation, and they said, can we do it by phone? And I said, well, I'm just 3 blocks up the street. I would love to do it in person.
Good.
And we ended up sitting for an hour and a half and chatting. And I said, isn't this so much better that we didn't do it by phone? So being an old school agent from, 18 years ago I remember when I got my first BlackBerry and I thought, so people are going to be able to email me anytime and I'm going to have to respond anytime. And that was a very foreign concept back in the day. Now, some agents, I can't even get to pick up the phone. So, I'm reverting to old school all the time in order to continue to maintain and build that rapport, because I know from doing this for so long that is what's going to keep them as continued clients.
I love to hear that because I preach that when I'm teaching students. I just preach that they have to do that to keep the rapport with the people. And I love to use this scenario. If I don't do anything with a client but continuously text, how easy is it for that client to text me back and say, sorry, I found a house?
Yeah.
We missed the fact that we are there to support them. We are their business partner in this adventure.
Yep.
And text is great in the right circumstances, but I think when people are spending the type of money that we're talking about, we need a relationship with the person.
Yeah.
And it's missing in a lot of agents, I find today.
I agree. And, if it means you have to drive 40 minutes out of your way to go and meet them in person, ultimately that's what's going to get you the business. So
Agreed.
Are you thinking long term or are you thinking short term? If you're thinking short term, then you are going to have what I would call it turn and burn business, where people aren't particularly loyal to you and you have to continue to create new clientele,
Right.
as opposed to having a very strong repeat and referral business.
So tell me, with all of what we go through, and we all know, like, successful realtors work a tremendous amount of hours. We're on call 24/7, and you're right, we're always canceling. I'm known for it. I cancel things with my friends all the time.
Yeah.
Sorry, an offer came, can't do this with you. Business first. Why do you do what you do?
Oh my gosh, good question. Sometimes I wonder, Lorraine, depending on the day and the client, but no, I'm just being facetious there. For me, I had a background in journalism before I came into real estate. I was running around Canada. Worked for the CBC, wrote the news, shot people getting married for a show called Weird Weddings back in the day. And people would say to me all the time, why did you go from that to selling real estate? I think I've always had a very entrepreneurial business mind. So part of it for me was really being able to build something from scratch. I love the building process.
Okay.
I love taking something and taking me and building an 8-person team, putting in all the components, the systems, that growth, and seeing the result of what you create was really important. But also for me, again, it's about championing women, giving women opportunities, and really, a lot of our clientele are women, and women, unfortunately, don't get the same kind of financial education as men. A lot of them are not sat down by their parents and said, this is what you need to know about building wealth. This is how you do it. The education, it might be a little bit more there now, but I think largely men have an advantage in this, and it's leading women to be in a vulnerable position, and I don't like that. If you're in a marriage that's not working out and you have no real estate assets or other assets, you're going to be in a much more challenging position. I mean, I'm separated now from my ex, and thank God I have a financial wherewithal about me, because I'll be able to see this through. But I have a lot of friends who don't have real estate investments, aren't financially savvy, and for them, they have much fewer options. So that's one of the things I'm passionate about as well as education.
Good for you. That's great to hear.
Thank you.
Really great to hear. So one of my favorite questions to ask when we're doing the podcast is, tell me what you would tell your 20-year-old self today.
Yes. Oh my gosh. The first thing is everything's going to be okay. I think when you're 20, you don't know what you don't know. You are probably a little bit insecure. You are not super confident in sort of what your future is going to look like. And I'm an overthinker. I'm very analytical. I can be a worrier. I'm kind of a reformed worrier. I think for me, I would just say, you know what? You're going to hustle and you're going to do well. There's going to be, ups and downs throughout your life, and ups and downs in the career that you choose. Certainly right now, it's a crazy time for real estate with all these tariffs and the uncertainty that it's caused. But just keep doing what you're doing. Be authentic. Don't try to be anybody else. If you are a kick-ass version of yourself, people will see that. They will hire you. They will continue to work with you if you come from contribution and do a great job, and you'll be okay.
Good for you.
Thank you.
That's great.
Thanks.
That's great. So tell me, when you first got into real estate 18 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
how much have you transformed to today?
Oh my gosh. When people don't believe me, but I'm actually an introvert at heart. I'm a learned extrovert is what I say. And, back in elementary school, I'd be the one sitting in the back of class, not saying a peep. This business has taught me that you really have to get out of your comfort zone in order to succeed. And so after this, I'm probably going to go and, have a cup of tea and spend some Zen time with myself to kind of recalibrate. But you got to be able to turn it on, and you have to let those aspects of your personality shine through and become more extroverted. You got to talk to more people. You got to be curious. You've got to be personable. You've got to be all those things. And now I can kind of turn it on and turn it off because I've been doing it for so long, but it will really help you in the business. You've got to go out of your comfort zone. You're never going to succeed.
No, I agree with that. And we have to wear many, many, many hats.
Many hats.
Many hats. A lot of different personalities.
Tons. I feel like a therapist half the time.
Got that right.
But in a good way. And I mean, it's a big, big, big decision for people. So I understand why people want to be communicated with constantly, why people are nervous, why people are worried. I mean, especially with the current state of the economy and what is happening internationally as well. You're going to have to be reassurance for them. You're going to have to be their coach. You're going to have to be their therapist. You're going to have to be many, many things that doesn't necessarily directly correlate to signing an offer and negotiating for them. Mm-hmm. So you kind of have to bring the full package.
How did you feel this week when the interest rate didn't drop?
I was not happy. I had a few clients waiting for that to happen to kind of stimulate the market. Well, to stimulate the market a little bit. I understand why the Bank of Canada did it. I think if Trump had not paused the tariffs, I think we would have seen a cut. I think the fact that they, held firm and they didn't come down is a direct result of him pausing them. I think the challenge right now is that there's so much uncertainty out there. People are concerned about their jobs. When you're concerned about your job and whether you're going to keep your job, you're not out looking for houses. Mm-hmm. So I think, clarity and an action plan that's not just us in limbo would be helpful at this point.
Do you remember what the interest rate was when you started 18 years ago?
No, but it was higher than it was. I remember my parents were trying to sell their Oakville house back in the 90s, and it was 13% or something crazy.
Sure, yeah.
So that's what I tell people. I'm like, it could be worse, guys. I know you think that, 4.75 is high, but, you should look back historically because it could be a lot worse.
24% when I started.
Really?
Never did a deal that didn't have a VTB on it, ever.
Oh my gosh. And now, so VTB's vendor take back,
Yeah.
now it's rare.
Oh, very rare.
Very rare to see those.
Very
I don't think
rare.
most agents would even know how to do one.
No, we did it pretty much on every deal that we did at that point in time. And we were so relieved when the interest rate went down to 21%.
Oh my gosh.
And when I sit with clients today and they say, oh my goodness, it's 4%, my mortgage is gonna be 4%, I'm thinking,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
what's that about?
Yeah.
So it's a very interesting career to see the amount of changes that we go through continuously, and everybody got spoiled. I think they got really spoiled in the hype of the market a couple of years back.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's selling at astronomical prices. I worry for those people today in the mortgage renewal
Yep.
system, that's for sure, because that's a scary place to be. But where do you see it ending? What do you think will happen? What's your prediction? Let me ask it in a different manner. What's your prediction maybe over the next 2 years? What do you think will happen?
I think it's going to take a good 7 or 8 more months for the market to start picking up again in a significant way. I am very sad to say that, but I think it's going to take some time. I think we need to see more stability in the economy. You know, consumer confidence right now is lower than it was during COVID, which says something. So, you know, buyers and sellers out there, they're going to need to see some stability in the economy. I hope, you know, if these tariffs do come in, they're not going to have as much of an impact as you know, if you read the newspaper, they might have, because, you know, Canadians were already looking at prices on everything going up since COVID by what, 35%.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's going to take a while. I think once we start getting into 2026, things are going to start rebounding. And, you know, when you look at real estate over time, it always goes up. Always. You just have to wait out the lulls and not reactively. It's like the stock market, right? Mm-hmm. Stock market goes down, but it goes back up. If you sell when it's down, there's no advantage to that. So get out of the fear mindset and really see real estate as a long-term investment and try to weather the storm as much as you can.
Yeah, if you can weather it, for sure. And I agree with you. I think by the end of this year, we will see a lot of difference going back to the way that we're accustomed to working. I won't get into the tariff scenario because that's a whole other party if that happens to us, and I'm really praying that we don't go down that road. But I think slowly we're getting a little bit more stable as we go through.
Yeah.
I think that also the buyers are now seeing that, okay, maybe this isn't going to change drastically.
Right.
So I think initially when we slowed down, it was because everybody thought the interest rate would just plummet again, and I don't think that's going to happen.
No, I don't think that's going to happen.
So I think once they're used to, okay, 4% may be our average interest rate, and they're accustomed to it, then it's easier for them to go forward.
Agreed, totally agreed. I think uncertainty is never good for the market, because then people tend to pause and not make any big decisions like buying or selling. As soon as people have sort of acclimatized to, okay, this is what it is. Mm-hmm. And this, now that I know this is what we're gonna have to, you know, spend to buy. This is what we're gonna have to sell for, and what does that look like for us? And what does the interest rate mean for how much we're gonna be spending on our mortgage every month? Once they start sort of acclimatizing, I think things are gonna pick back up.
I think so too. I really think so too. And I'm hoping that we do get the HST taken away on the new home construction,
Yes.
if that's at all possible.
Yes.
It's big talk, and it would really, I think, do a lot for the real estate economy as well.
Agreed. We need some breaks.
We do need some breaks, and the consumer needs the break.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody is so still hung up on talking about the price of groceries and how that's gone up, that it's hard for them to move forward with a bigger plan right now.
Yes.
So we're just kind of hovering.
Mm-hmm. Holding pattern.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just my personal opinion, of course, but I don't see the interest rate plummeting again. And I think that housing prices have bottomed out.
I mean, I've been saying this for almost 20 years, but a house that's worth $1 $1 million is not going to be worth $500,000 ever.
No.
Ever. So the people that have been waiting for that have waited themselves out of
The market.
and being able to purchase a property and all the advantages of, gaining appreciation and having an asset that you can pull money out of for other things. I mean, there's so many advantages to buying real estate.
Oh, totally. I think it is the backbone of stability to anybody's finances.
Yep, agreed.
Good. So tell me, what's the best compliment you've ever received in real estate?
Oh, good question. You're asking good questions. I think for us and for me personally, it would be the same thing, which is that we really do treat our clients like family. We would never, ever suggest that a client sells a house that is less than they can get in 3 months if they don't absolutely have to sell, for example. I think people really see us as trusted advisors, and that to me is the best compliment you could ever receive, because they trust us with their own transactions. Our family, their families are calling us now. All these years later, their kids are using us.
Wonderful.
So, having built up that sort of goodwill, and having people say we'd never use anybody else because we know you guys have our back is the best compliment ever.
And it is a huge compliment. Any referral from your existing client or past client is a huge compliment, because it really does mean that they believed in you, they trusted you with, and I mean, we're trusting you is, a really big word in our industry, because it's the largest asset that most people own, most amount of money they'll ever have. And for them to truly trust you and compliment you when you finish that transaction with them is huge.
Especially with so many agents out there right now. I mean, there's 72, last I heard, 1,000 agents with the Toronto Real Estate Board. So for clients to come back again and again when they have all these options, really, really means a lot.
72,000 agents today on TREB, and 1% of them did transactions.
Right.
Well, no, 1% made a living, and only the top 3% even did any transactions.
But the public doesn't know that.
They should.
They should. They should.
I think they should know that.
When your Uber driver has their real estate license, I personally think there's too many of us out there, and I don't think it's necessarily great for the consumer. I have a bit of a problem with part-time agents who have 2 other jobs, then they're doing that on the side, because I think the sheer amount of value that people are looking to buy or sell requires dedication and somebody who's got their finger on the pulse of the market.
It's dedication, and my biggest word, again, when I'm doing my training with people, is knowledge.
Yeah.
How could you be as knowledgeable if I only dedicate 5 hours a week to this career? You just couldn't.
You can't. It's impossible. I mean, I'm doing it 7 days a week, and I'm still, still having to take time to make sure I'm caught up on everything daily.
Exactly.
And the market also changes on a dime. So if you're not in it, full time and consistently putting effort, you're going to miss stuff, and that could be tens of thousands of dollars where you're either overpaying, you're selling a listing for less than they could have gotten, you're underpricing, overpricing. I mean, there's a lot of money to be gained and lost in real estate.
Absolutely. I keep track of that. I look at a lot of agents that work my area, and I will watch their listings on what they priced it for and what I think, I think that house could have been a lot more money.
Right.
And it sells. And the average consumer doesn't even understand that.
Nope, no idea.
And if you look at finances, let's talk about finances, and you lost $100,000 that you might have gained, that could be their entire life savings, their entire retirement.
Exactly.
For the average working person, it is their entire life savings. And I think we need to be more responsible and more accountable in those departments. And the people that we're working with in the industry, whether it's the clients or other agents, you're right. Like, why are there part-time agents doing this? How do they know the market?
Right.
They can't.
Well, they can't. It's impossible.
They just get lucky, pick up a client, and they work with them.
Yeah. I mean, I'm assuming that because properties are sitting on the market longer, you're having to be much more knowledgeable in order to set the right list price these days and have the right listing strategy, that, you know, there won't be as many agents as there was. I think RICO registrations are already down in terms of new agents wanting to get licensed and being educated. Because, you know, the heyday of being able to put anything on the market with moderately decent pictures and sell it within 4 hours with 5 offers is gone.
Long gone.
Yeah. And so if you don't know how to survive and give the highest level of client service and guidance in this market, you're going to be having a lot of difficult conversations with clients who are not happy.
And in your era, going back 18 years or 19 years in the industry, 60, 90, 120 was a normal time frame on the market. This isn't unusual to me.
People got spoiled.
They certainly did.
Yeah.
It was really an average time to sell your home. And I explain that to people now. If I do go in myself for a listing, I say, listen, this won't sell in 3 days at $300,000 above asking price. We're looking at 90 to 120 days.
Right.
And that's where we become the therapist, the hand holder.
Yep.
Because they're frustrated and they're constantly waiting of when can I get out, and it's taking so long to happen, and you have to be very experienced to nurture your client through that and keep them calm and not upset when that's happening for them.
100%. I mean, it's all about setting expectations. If you're coming in and overselling yourself and overselling the state of the market, you are going to be left with your clients having a very bad taste in their mouth. You're not going to be getting repeat business from them, that's for sure.
No, you won't.
So I always like to come in very honestly and say, guys, this is the state of the market. This is my recommendation. And, this is the days on market you could be looking at. This is the worst case scenario. This is the best case scenario. So that they're coming from a place of making an educated decision.
Agreed, completely agreed. It's the professional approach.
Yeah.
Definitely. So before we wrap up for today, I want to ask you just a couple more questions. Tell me one of the things that you think is the most misunderstood thing about real estate agents.
I touched on it before, but I think the number one thing is that most people think this job is easy, and you have to put in a minimal amount of work to achieve success because they've been brainwashed by fancy, flashy TV shows out there that tell them that they can get a $3 million listing with not a lot of effort and work. It is completely not the case. I have shed literally blood, sweat, and tears in the last 18 years, and I have I've lost some friendships that I wasn't able to put as much time into because I was hustling. You got to have a mentality of putting yourself out there and really never stopping. And if that's not your personality, then it's going to be very difficult. So I think that's the biggest misconception, that this job is easy. It is not easy. It's not easy to be a solo agent right now. A lot of people, it's moving into another generation of teams. So being a solo agent's not easy. Even being on a team is not easy. So you're going to have to hustle, and you're going to have to work really hard.
Because you have a fairly large team, do you find that a lot of people contact you wanting to be on a team because they think that that's easy business?
Yes.
I like that conversation.
Most agents join a team because they do not want to have to hustle as hard for business, and they don't want to have to, I know all about search engine optimization. I know everything. I know how to build a funnel. I know how to cold call and circle prospect and create systems. Like, I've had to learn all of this stuff over the years. I would say 90% of agents have no interest in any of that. But you're going to have to learn it, especially if you're going to lead a team. So yes, I think most agents join a team thinking that, they're going to just get business. And yes, some teams structures, they will give you all the leads, but they could just give you a phone number, and then you're going to have to take it from there. The old team I used to be on many years ago, that's what we did. We got a phone number and a first name, and we had to convert it.
Convert the lead.
Yeah. Some teams have a split, so you have to do some prospecting, bring in some of your own business, but the team will give you business. It really just depends on the team, but there's very few free rides these days, especially with good leads.
I find since the market has turned and people come to me for advice and they want to talk to me about, I'm thinking of joining a team. Well, generally that's because you're not doing well. That's my first question. Tell me what you did last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I was training actually this week a team. They called me and said, listen, I want you to talk to my agents and tell them what they should be doing. So I was having a talk with them about that. And when I said to the other agents on the team, do you understand that it is your job, I'm going to use your name as an example, that it's your job to bring leads to Christine,
right?
Not vice versa.
They were probably very surprised.
Shock. I think shock set in. They just stared at me. I said, if I was to just continuously be giving you leads, how would that benefit me? What would that do for me? Do you think that I can't sell a home? I don't know how to sell a home?
Right.
When you're in a team environment, I said to them, and again, you're right, the structure can be different on every team. But if you're not bringing something to the team, why would I want you on the team?
Right.
How would I benefit from that? And and honestly, they were flabbergasted. Mm-hmm. I said, people join teams because they think it's free money. There's nowhere in life yet that I've found free money. I'm still looking.
If you find it, please call me.
I'll call you. I'm still looking. And I said, you have to understand that you have to work harder on a team. You've got to be doing all kinds of things and helping that team grow, because if the team doesn't grow, how do we expand and how does everybody make a living?
Yep, exactly.
And when they left, they were absolutely shocked by that response. And I think that they all think, well, Christine will just give me lead after lead and I'll financially be fine.
Right.
There has to be I don't care what the split is or what anybody's doing there, but
yeah.
If you're not reciprocating on the other end and bringing something to that team, why would anybody want you there?
Well, yeah, you're not going to stay on the team, right? So you've got to be bringing something to the table. I mean, on my team, we handle a lot, but there is an expectation that at least part of the business that you're bringing in every year is generated by your own prospecting. That, of course, we coach and support you around and contribute to, and I coach everybody on the team to hit their goals, but if they're sitting around, then, it's like, well, then you're not going to hit your goals. And how motivated are you to hit them?
So when you tell me that your company is in the cloud,
yes.
How do you meet with your team? Is it all via Zoom? Do they all work from home? Do you get together? How do you deal with that?
So we are all virtual. We all work from and because we're all over the GTA, it wouldn't make sense for us to all come into an office necessarily at this stage. But we get together, we go for dinner, we go dancing, we had a chocolate making workshop for them that was great. We're always doing fun things with the team to bring them together.
Beautiful.
Because it is a work from home virtual environment, and I know how much community does mean to agents. I know that one of the challenges with agents is they feel very isolated. And they feel like they're kind of working in a vacuum, and there's not that much support out there for them. It depends on their brokerage too, and how much training they get, or their team leader, etc. So we go out of our way to make sure that everybody sees each other. And often I will pair agents up for their prospecting. So we have little teams within the team. Mm-hmm. So that has also been another way to make sure that everybody's getting FaceTime with other people on the team.
Good, really good, really good. Sounds like a fantastic team.
Thank you. We try our best.
Well, I'm sure you do. It sounds like you're doing a fantastic job. So before we end for today, I just want you to tell me about Christine. Just tell me about Christine. What do I need to know about Christine? What things have you not told me that are just about you?
Oh my gosh. Well, let's see. I have a passion for painting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I actually have a pretty big artistic side that when the market is busy or life is busy, tends to fall by the wayside. But I am never happier than when I'm sitting with all of my watercolor paints and a canvas creating something.
That's beautiful.
Thank you. And I would love, my ideal is to spend a few months in Europe every summer and paint. I would love that.
Oh, Paris on the bridge painting.
I would take that.
I bet. That's great. That's fantastic. I say every year, 35 years in the industry, I'm not getting any younger, and I say, even to my children, I'm not going to work at all this winter. I'm going to go somewhere for 2-3 months, and I never get there for 2 weeks. Never mind 2-3 months.
I know, it's hard. Well, that's why you've got to, that's why one of the reasons I built the team is because I wanted to create leverage for myself. And it's been a lot of work getting to that point, finding the right people for the right roles. But I'm very happy with what I've created, and it does allow me freedom.
That's good.
Which is great. I'm still hustling. I'm still working with clients and doing all of that. But while my son is only 5.5, I'm a bit of an older mom, and I took a number of years off when he was born of selling. So I was just running the team, and I was only able to do that because I had built the team to the point where I could.
Beautiful. Good. That's good to hear, because there's a lot of people in our industry that struggle. Mm-hmm. It's a known thing that are struggling with, the work-life balance. It's very hard to do in this career.
It's very hard to do. Yeah.
It's even hard. I'm going to say in a marriage with this career.
Yes. You have to have a very understanding partner.
Very understanding partner. Mm-hmm. Because when you're a hustler and you're in the zone, it's about gotta go.
Yeah. Gotta go, sorry.
Yeah.
I can't tell my clients that the offer that expires in an hour, they're gonna have to wait 2 hours to see me.
No, and a lot of people can't live with that and don't understand it. Mm-hmm. It makes your personal life a little bit more of a struggle too, I think.
It does. And I know I've talked a lot about hustling today, but I do believe in, if you're constantly operating at 120%, you are going to burn out. So you do have to be conscious of that as well. It's a fine balance. It's something that I still struggle with.
Me too.
But I've burnt out a few times in my career, and one of my regrets is that I didn't have the self-awareness at the time to realize that I was experiencing burnout symptoms and ask for help sooner and get the support that I needed sooner.
But now we know we're smarter and wiser.
Now we're smarter and wiser.
Smarter and wiser, and that's what it's all about. We all grow and learn at the same time, right? And find our way when we're meant to stay in the industry, I think. Yes,
exactly. Yeah, it's been hard lessons learned, but I think they have been incredibly valuable for me, and I'm glad that I was able to learn them and created the scenario where I had to learn a lesson, because I think that's all self-growth.
It is self-growth, you're right. Well, I want to tell you it was an absolute pleasure having you here today to talk to you. I want to wish you and your team every success that there is out there. You sound like you really, really have it together. And if anybody ever crosses my path looking for that, I'll call you.
Thank you, Lorraine. It's been an absolute pleasure meeting you.
You too.
Yeah, I love your podcast. You're doing great things.
Thank you so much. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you.